Hello and welcome to part 142 of Let's Play Dangan Ronpa. I'm getting depressed because of something one of my friends said. So, I'm going to try and get this over and done with rather quickly today. So, the super duper high school despair is not able to write down English. God freaking dang it. What a massive pain in the arse are our true enemies. Chapter 5. If you want donuts, prepare for despair. I don't really see how that had anything to do with... To be continued. Immediately. What? Obtain the Presents Island of Dreams rocket. You can find it in the Presents menu. But why would I get the rocket from the beginning of the game at the end of the 5th chapter? That seems kind of weird. Do I want to save my data? Hells yeah. Why the hell not? Sorry, I was just, you can probably see the shadow of what I was doing. I just realized that. Anyway, super duper high school despair. The group that caused mankind's most despairingly maleficent and monstrous malefaction last year. The group that pitted us against one another in this academic coliseum and broadcasted it to the world. A helplessly terrible group of people. And the identity of the puppet master. After all this time, we finally got our sights set on our true enemy. But first, let's get out of this awful place, shall we? We can talk once we've done that. Yeah, I agree. Let's get the fuck out of here. Rattle, rattle. It's locked, but there should be a way to open it now. Use Kirigiri. Use Hanaki. Hey Kirigiri, did you bring that key with you? That Monokuma's secret gadget thing you stole from the headmaster's office? Of course I have it. This key is vital in our trapping of the puppet master. I wouldn't let it out of my sight. You said it can unlock every door in the academy, right? No. Yes, it can. Then it should work on that door over there too. Hey Kirigiri, shouldn't that key be able to open this door too? It's worth a shot. He slowly slid the Monokuma branded key into the door's keyhole, turned it and... Yes, it opened. We should be able to get out of here now. Let's go. Let's. Opening the once sealed door Kirigiri and I left the dump behind. Finally. I was finally out, but I didn't have time for a sigh of relief. After all, the true battle was still to come. Chapter 6. The Super Duper High School Unluckster, or How I Learned to Stop Despairing and Embrace the End. That sounds very, despair-inducing? Sorry, I'm just checking what you can see. Oh, my hand. Anyway, beyond the door was a space like a shaft, like a tunnel turned on its side, or maybe a large chimney. My eyes traced a path along the ladder on the wall, and felt like I was being eaten. I was at the bottom of a bottomless pit. I took hold of the ladder first, began my ascent, and Kirigiri followed after me. Dude, you're terrible. You're supposed to be... See, Nagi's... Who am I kidding? I'm as much of a gentleman. I wouldn't have taken that opportunity either. God. Anyway, we climbed and we climbed and we climbed, unable to see our destination. After some time, we also lost sight of our point of origin. I had no idea we were this far down. Watch your step. I won't be able to catch you if you fall. Ah, yeah, I'll be careful. Of course, now that I'm actually thinking about it, maybe I should try talking about something to take my mind off it. Oh, hey, Kirigiri? There was something I wanted to ask you. You're a super duper high school sleuth, right? How long have you been a detective? How long? I've always been one, ever since I was a child. Since the old days when detective work was considered far more venerable than it is today, the Kirigiri family has made its livelihood as detectives. Then your family's pretty famous, isn't it? Actually, quite the opposite. We're relatively unknown, even among others in the same line of work. Huh? But why, if you've got such a strong family tradition? We pride ourselves in it. Pride? Detectives represent neither light nor dark. It is precisely because we are neither good nor evil that we are able to find the one truth. We are obligated to maintain neutrality, so for that reason we must separate ourselves from the world. Thus we deliberately keep our existence hidden away. You keep hidden? It's an obsolete, old-fashioned, illogical way of thinking, but despite that we still abide by it. After all, it is our pride. Pride. Ah, I think I get it. Did you see that face that Nagi pulled when she was like, we separate ourselves from everyone? And he's just like, I get a jump. I bet everyone else is like, no, he was just pulling a normal face. Me and my obsession with people killing themselves. Anyway, the reason I couldn't find anything about her in the new students of Kubigami Academy thread is because she kept that information hidden to uphold her family's pride. But I trampled on that pride. What? I sold myself out to the Kubigami Academy faculty so I would be selected for admission, knowing full well that my actions were unworthy of a Kirigiri family detective. She went so far as to trample over her own family's pride so she could enroll in Kubigami's academy, and she wanted to do that because you were really looking forward to meeting your dad, weren't you? I can't blame you. Looking forward to it? I had absolutely nothing to look forward to in a reunion for my father. But you haven't seen your dad in so long. Surely there's a bunch of stuff you want to talk about. I have nothing to talk to him about, but I do have something to tell him. You want to tell him something? There's something I absolutely want to tell that man, to meet with him directly and tell him to his face. And what's that? That I'm cutting off all our ties, but he's no longer my father. No longer her father? The last time I saw that man, I was still a child, so I don't know a lot about him, other than that he was apparently very intelligent. The Kirigiri family had high hopes for the future with him as the next family head, but he hated being a detective, so he withdrew himself from the Kirigiri family. When my mother died, he used that as an excuse to run away from home. He had a big fight with my grandfather, the head, and then he left, leaving me, still young, behind. I'm sure he had a good reason. I bet your dad really wanted to bring you with him. In that case, I should be thankful. Thankful that he left me behind. Unlike that man, I actually take pride in my work as a detective. I take pride in the Kirigiri family, so I am grateful from the bottom of my heart that he didn't take me with him. Had he by some chance actually taken me with him, I would not have been able to become a detective. Climbing the ladder ahead of her, I was unable to see Kirigiri's face, so I had no way to know what kind of expression, what kind of emotion her face bore as she said those words. All I could tell was that as compared to usual, she was speaking more freely, and perhaps more brazenly. I have no intention of blaming that man. His life is his to live, and I'm sure it sounds like I'm being dismissive, but that's honestly how I feel. There's just one thing that I can never forgive him for. And what's that? The way people look at me. I felt no sorrow at having been left behind, rather, I thought I was better off for it, but people didn't see me like that. I was always thought of as the girl who was abandoned by her father. And that's how they all looked at me. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm fed up with having my past, that man's shadow, always hanging over me. I want to cut him out of my life once and for all. That's why I have to tell him to his face that I'm cutting all ties, so I can clear the books of our past, so I can remove that man from my life. Of course, he's probably forgotten all about me by now. But your family, isn't severing relations a bit much? He and I simply share the same blood, nothing more. We may be connected by our blood, but our hearts are disconnected. Can you really call that family? They're connected by blood, but their hearts are disconnected. She had been so sure, so firm in saying that, but I couldn't think of any way to respond, so I could do nothing but keep my mouth shut. Continued climbing in silence. After some time, we finally arrived. Ah, good. I'm starting to get bored of this shit anyway. It looks like this is the end. Kibigami Academy is on the other side of that door. We've returned. You remember that the door in the dormitory's trash room floor? That should be where we come out. I unlocked the door ahead of time, so there shouldn't be any problems opening it. I'll give it a shot. I pressed my right hand against the door above my head and I pushed. With a little resistance, the door opened. Then we've returned. That was an unbelievably long ladder. I'm exhausted. Somehow we made it back. Whether you could say we were unharmed was another issue altogether. But here we were, Kibigami Academy. Thank you, Kirigiri. You saved my life. You don't need to thank me. I was just repaying a favor. So, what do we do from here? Managed to dodge one bullet, and that's great and all, but if the Puppet Master finds me, it's not just me who's in danger, but you too, since you saved me. Are you worried? Well, yeah. Then how about we ask him directly? Huh? Him? Monokuma, ask him whether your escaping is a problem or not. But it's just a matter of time before you're found, and it's not like there's anywhere to run to anyway. As she spoke, Kirigiri pointed at the security camera, just saying it's my only option. If my only option is to wait to be caught, then I'm better off just surrendering. Don't worry, things won't end up the way you're afraid they will. After all, it's the Puppet Master who's been driven into a corner, not us. The Puppet Master's been driven into a corner. You said that before, but what do you mean? By holding the Kuri who saw his class trial, the Puppet Master revealed his hand. And that's something we can take advantage of. Something we can take advantage of. You'll see when we talk to Monokuma. Also, it's to our benefit to act first, before you're discovered. We want any advantage we can get for this negotiation. I'm a little bit, more than a little bit nervous, but we've got no choice, do we? Monokuma should be in the gymnasium. Let's go, shall we? Let's run to the gymnasium. And continue. And again. Well. I get Kirigiri, but why is the should have been executed, has been Naegi here with you? Can't say I didn't see that reaction coming. Am I really going to be okay? Did you perhaps save him? And after all the trouble I went through with preparing his punishment. Sorry, I kind of stuttered there. I suddenly got a little bit out of breath. What the fuck is going on? Oh my god, I'm discovering so many medical conditions. No, I'm kidding. I'm fine. I'm just being weird. And what if I did? If the villain is correctly identified during the class trial, he alone will be punished. And so to say that, but those are the rules. So I'll just have to punch you again, and this time I'll make sure it works. Kirigiri, if that's what you want to do, go right ahead. What? But before you do, just let me say one thing. If you execute Naegi, then you lose. Are you okay with that? Me? Lose? Hey, what's that supposed to mean? That class trial was just a big setup, wasn't it? So you could smoke me out and kill me. In other words, if things gone according to plan, it would have been me executed there. Hold on, what are you saying? But your expectations were blown way off track because Nagi let my lie slip through unnoticed. You didn't see that coming. It never even crossed your mind that in that situation someone would stand up for someone else. And your response to that unexpected turn of events was to call Nagi the villain and execute him. You were desperate. No, it was more than desperation. You felt threatened by Nagi because he doesn't do what you expect him to. But that wasn't the only surprise waiting for you at the class trial. Someone interfered with Nagi's execution. Alter ego. You miscalculated. You didn't consider that someone who was already dead would save someone else. And that is the truth. It wasn't Nagi who murdered Mikuru Kusaba, it was you. And yet, for you to execute Nagi in spite of that, isn't that a violation of the rules you so adore? Correct me if I'm wrong, but the villain is only supposed to be executed if he's identified correctly. And that means I lose? Let me get this straight. You're saying the real villain is me, not Nagi. Then where's your evidence? I don't have any. She doesn't sugarcoat it. Is this your idea of a joke? How can you talk like a big shot and not even have any evidence to back it up? I don't have any now, but with a little more time I'll be able to find everything I need. As much as you might try to hide it, there is only one truth. What's your deal? Now you're pilfering catchphrases from super detectives? If Nagi really did kill her, then he wouldn't have come to you like this. He'd have gone into hiding, trembling under the weight of his sins, cowering in fear of his punishment, rotting away in your precious despair. But we're here, standing up to you. We haven't lost hope. You're trying to say that counts in place of evidence? You think that's enough to satisfy me? You're right, that wouldn't satisfy you, but it's the same for the people watching this. Executing Nagi will not satisfy them. What? If I execute Nagi right now, this is what the people watching will think. They'll think that you forcibly executed Nagi because everything we said was right. They'll think that hope cannot be killed with despair. If your stance is that what we're saying is baseless, then you just have to prove it, right? No, you have no choice but to prove it. Because if you execute Nagi with his guilt while his guilt is still in question, then you're admitting defeat. If you want us to experience despair fairly and impartially, then you will accept my proposition. You must accept it. So what is it, this proposition of yours? That we retry Mikuru Kusaba's murder case, and that this time you hold a fair class trial abiding by the school rules. Let this be our final battle, the final battle between hope and despair. Pretty fitting for a climax, don't you think? The fair class trial, the final battle, in other words, the trial to reveal the Puppet Master's identity. But the Puppet Master has no reason to accept a challenge like that. Surely just get rid of me, no questions asked. Intriguing. Very intriguing. Very? I tried a new personality. I couldn't bear the old one any longer. Well, anyways, that's not a very bad idea. It is a pretty fitting climax, I'll give you that. So you accept? If I do, will that satisfy you lot and the viewers? And when you're satisfied, will you despair for me? If you will, then honey, show me where the what? The yes sign? I'm gonna have to look that up, because I've got no idea what the fuck that means. Will you lot and your hope win out, or will me and my despair take the crown? A veritable final moment. A veritable final battle. A real Kodiak moment. He accepted, and that means there's still a chance. However, since this is the climax, it would be pretty boring if all you had to do was find the culprit. So, to make it befitting of the final conflict, you lot need to bear all of the mysteries. All of the mysteries. Every single mystery buried in this academy. If you manage to solve all of them, then I'll call it you lot's victory. That's what I was planning on doing from the very beginning. And that takes care of that. If you lot can uncover Mikuru Kusaba's murderer, how the crime was committed, and on top of that, solve all of the Academy's mysteries, then I'll admit defeat. But when the polar opposite happens, we'll all be executed, right? I can barely contain my excitement. When you learn the grisly truth, just what kind of despair will you lot show me? We're the ones who should be excited. When we reveal everything, just how much despair will the super duper high school despair be in? I feel like I just witnessed the start of something outrageous. But first I'd like to say something. You said before that class trials are held when murders are committed among the students, right? What of it? I'd confirm that there are no inaccuracies in that statement. There's no need to try and pry it out of me. I'm an approachable kind of bear. Everything that's happened has all been in accordance with the school rules, and it goes without saying Mikuru Kusaba's class trial is no exception. Huh? Mikuru Kusaba's class trial is no exception? It's held in accordance with the school rules. Then that means the person who killed her. Actually, while we're at it, I'll give you one more hint. I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but there are a total of 16 participants, all of whom are students in this academic coliseum. Also, since the coliseum commenced operation, the only living humans set foot in the academy are those very same 16 students. What? Is that the truth? Why the silent treatment all of a sudden? This conversation's over. I ain't got nothing left to talk to you guys about. Now scram! Now he's angry. Maybe he has borderline personality disorder. Shut up and get lost. Alright, we're going. Are you sure I can go? Whatevs, it doesn't matter. We're gonna get punished later either way. So I'm gonna prepare something very despairingly special for you guys. Let's go, Nagi. Okay. And with that, I'm going to end this episode. Next episode on the top right, previous on the top left. Until next time, folks. See ya.